Welcome back. In UFC, there are champions. And then there are kings. Every champion has a journey. Every challenger believes their moment has arrived. Philadelphia has seen underdogs rise before. But on August 15th, only one man leaves with the belt.
You're gonna kill him!
UFC returns to Philadelphia as one of the biggest events of the year. The welterweight title is on the line, and the man standing on top of the mountain is Islam Makhachev. After dominating the lightweight division, conquering a second weight class, riding a 16-fight win streak that sits amongst the longest in UFC history. He's looking to cement his legacy as one of the greatest mixed martial artists the sport has ever seen. Standing across from him, a man who has never lacked belief. Machado Garry talked his way into the biggest opportunity of his career, but unlike many before him, he's backed those words up inside the octagon. Now with the world watching, he'll try and do what nobody has been able to do for years. Take the throne from one of the most complete fighters the UFC has ever produced. Mackenzie Dern defend her title against rising star Gillian Robinson, between two of the division's most dangerous submission specialists. Show the Huskies some love, hit subscribe, and let's keep building this community together. Do it. Anything can and will happen inside the octagon. So remember to stay husky. Let's get into it. In the welterweight division, we have Jeremy Wells taking on Myktybek Orolbai. Wells has to make every exchange count. He carries genuine fight-ending power, so the longer he stays on the feet, the more dangerous he becomes. Wells should look to keep Orolbai at the end of his punches, explode with combinations when opportunities arise, and punish every failed takedown attempt. If he can force Orolbai into a firefight instead of a wrestling match, he'll always be one clean shot away from ending the night. Orolbai, this is all about persistence. He doesn't need anything to work immediately because he'll continue attacking until something sticks. Expect him to mix clinch work with relentless takedown attempts, forcing Wells to constantly defend and draining his explosiveness. Once he establishes control, he'll happily chip away minute after minute rather than rushing for a finish. This feels like a classic power versus pressure matchup. Wells is dangerous enough to flip the fight at any moment, but I trust Orolbai to stay disciplined, avoid unnecessary risks, and gradually take over as the rounds unfold. Give me Myktybek Orolbai by decision. In the middleweight division, we have Vicente Luque taking on Tresean Gore. Luque needs to make this fight where Gore is constantly having to react. I expect him to pressure behind his boxing, work the body and head, and look for opportunities to turn a normal exchange into a dangerous one. Luque's at his best when the fight becomes violent and both fighters are exchanging, rather than when he's forced to patiently chase someone around the cage. Gore needs to make Luque uncomfortable early, rather than standing directly in front of him and allowing Luque to build combinations. He should use his movement and power to make Luque think twice about entering. I think the experience of fighting through difficult exchanges will help Luque here. Gore is dangerous enough that I don't expect Luque to simply walk through him, but I see Luque gradually forcing him into more and more uncomfortable exchanges. Give me Vicente Luque by knockout. In the light heavyweight division, we have Rafael Tobias taking on Lucas Fernando. Tobias needs to make this physical. I don't want to see him standing at the end of Fernando's reach and trying to win a technical kickboxing match. His best route is to get inside, make Fernando fight in close quarters, and force him to deal with Tobias's pressure. Once he gets the fight into the clinch or onto the ground, Tobias can start chaining attacks together. Fernando needs to make Tobias pay for every entry. His best weapon here is controlling the space between them and refusing to let Tobias comfortably establish his grappling. If Tobias comes forward recklessly, meet him with straight punches and kicks before circling away. Fernando needs to stay calm and use his own physicality to separate or reverse the position. I think Tobias will make this fight much more physical than Fernando wants. But I think Fernando's composure and ability to fight at different ranges will allow him to bank rounds. Give me Lucas Fernando by decision. In the 5-weight division, we have Charles Johnson taking on Jose Ochoa. Johnson needs to make Ochoa chase him. I think this is a fight where Johnson can have success by constantly changing the look he's giving Ochoa. If he can touch him with the jab, attack the legs, keep moving, and suddenly step in with combinations. He needs to mix in his wrestling. He doesn't need to hold Ochoa down for long. Making him defend takedowns will make his striking entries less predictable. Ochoa needs to make Johnson respect his power immediately. He shouldn't chase Johnson around the octagon, throwing everything he has. Instead, he should cut off the cage and wait for Johnson to enter into range. He wants to make it a physical fight in the clinch, slow Johnson down, and keep him from freely moving around the cage. The fight becomes much more favorable for him. This feels like one where Johnson's experience and ability to make adjustments throughout the fight will matter. I expect Ochoa to have dangerous moments, but Johnson should be able to keep changing the range and prevent Ochoa from getting comfortable. Give me Charles Johnson by decision. In the welterweight division, we have Magny taking on Ramiz Brahimaj. Magny needs to turn this into a frustrating fight from the opening bell. He has to make Brahimaj travel a long way to get in his preferred range, constantly touch him with straight shots and kicks, and then move before Brahimaj can establish himself. If Magny can keep Brahimaj working without giving him extended periods of control on the ground, I think the fight starts to increasingly look like a Magny kind of fight. Brahimaj doesn't want to spend 3 rounds trying to track Magny down at distance. He needs to close the gap, get the fight against the fence, and start making Magny defend. Once Brahimaj gets the fight to the ground, he needs to be aggressive rather than simply holding position. If he can force Magny to defend submissions and constantly threaten transitions, he can turn the fight into a grappling battle before Magny gets comfortable. Magny has to be extremely disciplined because Brahimaj's submission game is exactly the sort of thing that can punish one bad grappling exchange. But I see Magny winning by making Brahimaj chase, disrupting the entries, and using his length and experience to control where most of the fight takes place. Give me Neil Magny by decision. In the middleweight division, we have Donte Johnson taking on Eric McConico. I'm much more interested in Johnson's finishing potential here. He shouldn't give McConico the opportunity to settle into a rhythm. I want to see him get aggressive early, use his speed to close the distance, force McConico into exchanges before he can establish his preferred range. If Johnson gets McConico hurt, I think he should immediately turn up the pressure. This is not a fight where I expect Johnson to be satisfied with simply winning rounds. McConico needs to take the sting out of Johnson's attacks. Can't allow Johnson to dictate when the exchanges happen. McConico can make this ugly in the clinch. He can tie Johnson up, make him work, and turn the fight into a physical battle. He can take away some of the space Johnson needs to generate his best offense, and to come out with the intention of making this a short night. McConico will have his moments, but eventually I see Johnson finding the opening and uploading. Give me Donte Johnson by knockout. In the lightweight division, we have Jalin Turner taking on Fernandes. Turner's best weapon here is his ability to make Fernandes fight at the end of his attacks. If he can use his kicks to the legs and body to disrupt Fernandez's movement before bringing his hands into play. If Fernandes starts rushing forward, Turner can punish those entries with straight shots, knees, and counters. Doesn't need to chase the finish. Making Fernandes repeatedly walk into his range could eventually create an opening for a big shot. Fernandes needs to close the distance before Turner gets comfortable, rather than allowing Turner to dictate the rhythm from the outside. Fernandes can pressure forward, force exchanges, and look to turn the fight into a physical battle. If he can get Turner defending against the fence or working through grappling sequences, he can take away a lot of Turner's long-range striking. The more chaotic and close quarters this becomes, the better Fernandez's chances are. Jalin should have the cleaner moments early and gradually find his timing as Fernandes tries to get inside. Eventually, I think Turner's size and power make the difference. Give me Jalin Turner by knockout.
I saw you. It was incredible.
In the welterweight division, we have Chidi Njokuani versus Joel Alvarez. Chidi wants to turn this into a striking match where he can pick his moments. He can attack Joel. Chidi wants to turn this into a striking match where he can pick his moments. He can attack Joel with kicks from the outside and bring in his hands when Joel tries to enter. His knees and elbows also become dangerous if Joel gets too close. If Chidi can keep the fight moving and avoid being trapped underneath Joel on the ground, he has a very clear route to victory through sustained damage. Joel has a completely different route. I think he needs to make Chidi uncomfortable rather than trying to beat him at his own game. Joel can use his awkward movement and long frame to enter, clinch, and force grappling exchanges. Once he gets Chidi onto the mat, his submission game becomes the major threat. He only needs one good opportunity to attack a neck or limb, and his ability to create submissions from unusual positions makes him dangerous throughout the fight. For Joel, I think the key is whether he can get past Chidi's striking and force enough grappling exchanges. If he does, I believe his submission game eventually takes over. Give me Joel Alvarez by submission. Coming up next in the middleweight division, Mansur Abdul-Malik takes on Dustin Stoltzfus. This is the type of fight where Abdul should trust his natural abilities. He has the speed and explosiveness to create openings on the feet. So rather than forcing the finish, he'll want to stay composed, pick his moments, and make Dustin react to him. If he keeps the fight in open space, the opportunities for damaging strikes will come naturally. Dustin has to drag Abdul into deep water. Every clinch, every scramble, every wrestling exchange works in his favor because it slows the fight down and tests Abdul's patience. If he can make this a physical, exhausting contest, his experience could become a major factor in the later stages. I think Abdul-Malik has too many physical advantages to ignore. Dustin is capable of making the fight awkward, but unless he can consistently control the grappling, I expect Abdul-Malik to find the cleaner, more damaging shots. Give me Mansur Abdul-Malik by knockout. In the lightweight division, with Edson Barboza taking on Esteban Ribovics. Barboza needs to remind everyone why he's one of the cleanest strikers in MMA. By chopping away Ribovics' leg lead, controlling with the range, forcing him to reset after every attack. Barboza can slow the younger fighter's pressure and turn the contest into a technical battle. If Ribovics becomes reckless, trying to close the distance, Barboza has the accuracy to make him pay. Ribovics can't afford to admire Barboza's striking. He needs to push forward. Behind combinations, keep Barboza reacting instead of attacking, and maintain a pace that never allows the veteran to settle into rhythm. The more uncomfortable Barboza becomes, the more opportunities Ribovics will create to land the bigger shots. Barboza will have moments where his experience and striking shine, but I think Ribovics' pace and willingness to keep marching forward eventually swing the momentum. Give me Esteban Ribovics by knockout.
Take me out of my section, come and rescue me.
In the co-main event of the evening, in the women's strawweight division for the championship, Mackenzie Dern takes on Gillian Robinson. Dern's biggest advantage comes from whenever the fight hits the mat. She'll be looking to close the distance early, force clinch exchanges, and create the kind of scrambles where her world-class submission game can take over. Dern doesn't need much time to capitalize on a mistake. So if Robinson gives up her neck or leaves an arm behind during a transition, the fight could be over in an instant. Even if she doesn't find the finish straight away, threatening submissions could allow her to control rounds. Robinson's best approach is to stay patient and fight with discipline. Rather than rushing into grappling exchanges on Dern's terms, she'll want to mix her wrestling with smart positional control and make Dern carry her weight throughout the fight. On the feet, simple combinations and constant movement can help her score without taking unnecessary risks. If Robinson can avoid getting caught in dangerous positions while steadily piling up control time, she has a clear path to victory. This is one of those rare matchups where both fighters are at their best on the ground, which makes every grappling exchange incredibly dangerous. I think Robinson's steady pressure and ability to stay composed will allow her to edge the positional battles without giving Dern the openings she needs. It won't be straightforward, but over 5 rounds, I expect Robinson to consistently bank control time. Give me Gillian Robinson by decision. In the main event of the evening, in the welterweight championship, we have Islam Makhachev taking on Machado Garry. Makhachev's path is to make Garry fight at a pace and in positions he doesn't want. Rather than chasing a knockout, he'll patiently close the distance, back Garry towards the fence, and repeatedly threaten with takedowns until the openings appear. Each clinch exchange is another chance to wear Garry down, and every successful takedown gives Makhachev more opportunities to control the fight. If he can keep Garry thinking about the wrestling instead of his striking, the championship's game plan should slowly take over. Garry has to make this a striking match from start to finish. His movement, timing, and shot selection will be critical, as standing still against Makhachev is asking for trouble. Garry needs to circle constantly, punish every takedown attempt with clean counters, and force Makhachev to work far harder than he's used to just to get into range. If he can frustrate the champion, keep the majority of the fight at kickboxing range, he has a genuine chance to outpoint him. Garry will have success when the fight is at range, but over 5 rounds, I think Makhachev's ability to adapt and constantly create grappling opportunities will eventually swing the fight in his favor. Once he starts spending extended periods on top, it becomes increasingly difficult for Garry to get back into the contest. Give me Islam Makhachev by submission.